Hello and welcome to our series on the Jaguar Enthusiasts Club. Next year the club celebrates its 40th anniversary, and what better way to prepare for the year than to catch up with a couple of key individuals within the club to understand a bit more about what they've been up to, what features and benefits there are being a club member, and also what they've got planned for their significant milestone next year. So first up we've got Wayne Scott, Media Controller for the JEC. We really hope you enjoy this series, and if you're not a member already, it will encourage you to consider signing up. Enjoy.
It's the Scott family XJS. I've been owned by my dad for over a quarter of a century now.
Really?
Wonderful cabriolet, of course, in its anniversary year this year, launched in 1983.
Hence why it's on the stand, because it's a celebratory year of it.
Indeed. 5-speed manual box, because an XJS always goes better as a manual.
As you well know, after being in my XJS, in James's fair hands.
Yes, I've just about stopped the therapy after that one, to be fair. But yeah, it's a lovely car, and thanks to my dad for letting me to bring it here. And you'll be shocked to know, Tom, that once upon a time, this frame once sat in the back seats of this car on family holidays.
Yes, I can well imagine. There's been a relaunch of the JEC magazine and general promotion within the JEC. A few people retired, and you are the new face and the PR man stroke editor of the new JEC magazine.
I am.
And I have to say, I've been reading it a lot, and I'm really, enjoying the changes and enjoying what you're doing. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Well, that's great, Tom. Obviously, Nigel Thorley retired this year after an incredible 39 years at the helm of Jaguar Enthusiasts.
Didn't quite do the 40, did he?
Didn't quite. But
40 was going to, but there you go.
He did a fantastic job, a phenomenal job, and of course left us with the legacy of Jaguar Enthusiasts magazine that we needed to ensure that it carried on in the same way. We relaunched in August. We've had a whole new design, a whole new layout and format, loads of new content in there, and of course it's all part of the changes that all of the clubs are having to make to adapt to new audiences. But for us, we're really proud of what we've done here, and it's really a club magazine that represents what the club is about and about the cars and what our members are up to as well. You can read so much of it.
That magazine always takes pride and praise on the coffee tables in my reception.
Good.
And I regularly walk in there and I'm seeing people picking it up and reading it, and and we've had a lot of good feedback from our customers who are members who get the magazine. And everyone, the general consensus of opinion is that it's the changes are being well received, and and we're really enjoying what you're doing. So it's fantastic. Articles are changing. It's just good. It's just all really good for us.
Well, thank you, Tom. And what has been nice actually is that we kind of split the magazine in half in a way, so that the front end of it has the sort of content that you'd expect to see in a very glossy sort of high street magazine, really celebrating the beauty of Jaguar, the history of Jaguar. We've got some really in-depth articles into some really lovely historical stories. We covered recently the 10th anniversary of the F-Type and told the story of how that car began as way back as the mid-1970s in concept form and followed it all the way through. Just an example. And then at the back of the magazine we've got huge chunks of club-focused content where the members' content is there. You can see exactly what we're up to as a club, what we're about, and how friendly we all are, basically.
So the thing I find really interesting about it is, obviously I've been around Jaguars for a long time, and F-Type and all the stuff in the last 20-25 years I know quite a lot about, due to I'm a bit of a geek, and I've always read the magazine and the experts' opinions in there of the older cars, going all the way back to 120s and C-types, and the cars that were rallied, even the SS's and stuff like that. And it's interesting that you're now doing some of these articles, and you're not necessarily doing it. You're giving me information that I hadn't heard before.
That's great.
And even I'm like, oh crumbs, I didn't know that. Where did he find that piece of information out from? And I'm not saying that some of the other stuff had been kind of recycled a bit, but it was, it's great that you've got this fresh pair of eyes on it that's digging out and plucking out information of stuff that even I thought I knew all about and I didn't. And I'm getting that info from you and your team, putting it in print.
Well, we work very hard to go into a little bit more depth than perhaps some other magazines are able to go into, in history in particular. And the great thing is there's so many of these people around to be able to help you and find the details with. In August issue when we relaunched, we spent a lot of time with Andy Morrison, who ran the XJR 15 project for TWR. He was the guy in charge of all of those cars coming off the line. He knows everything about them, and so we could write
a wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely. We could take some of the myths that have built up around these stories over the years and make sure the facts are in print, and we take great pride in that.
Yeah, well, I'm enjoying reading it, and I'm sure everyone else is, so keep up the good work.
Well, remember, it comes out on the 1st of every month, and you get it free as a Jaguar Enthusiasts Club member. Bargain. Well, of course, the other great piece of media that we have within the Jaguar Enthusiast Club is the Jaguar Enthusiast podcast. And what we've also done is, after the relaunch of the magazine, we've kind of rebranded the podcast a little bit. So the podcast is the Jaguar Enthusiast magazine podcast, and the two sit together. And what you'll notice is, as you go through the magazine, you'll find certain articles that we had a little bit more information on. And at the bottom of them, you'll find a little QR code. And if you scan the QR code, it will take you to the podcast relevant to the story of which we're talking about. So the magazine and the podcast very much work together.
So they're linking with each other
now. And this is what the media world's all about now. Everything has to link together.
I obviously listen to every podcast you do.
Well, you have to, because you're famous on the podcast now. Because I've got a question about the podcast that you and I recorded, which you can still go and listen to, by the way, jecpodcast.com. I can't remember what episode it was, but it's the brilliant one with Tom Lenthall on it. But obviously, after that podcast, we talked about just how much great work that you do at Tom Lenthall and the work that you are doing on customers' cars, and also, how you're working on some of the more accessible cars. Now, obviously, there were hundreds, thousands of customers then queuing up to come and have work done.
The podcast launched us into a whole new level.
Absolutely. I mean, you were a piddling little outfit before,
that's
but now
right.
you're huge global community.
Exactly.
So the question is, how many thousands have I made you, and when have I commissioned you?
I think what we did, we're going to give it back to you in laps around Castle Combe. I think that was the general gist of it.
Come with a free pacemaker.
And a free pacemaker, and a free driver, a chauffeur. You were chauffeured around Castle Combe.
I am going to need an expense account so I can put on all of the new underpants I'm going to have to buy. But that was epic. I mean, fantastic car. We're stood by a road going XJS here. That race car is something else.
But going back to the podcast, I really enjoyed doing that, and it was really good fun. And and it's nice to. I have had people come into the workshop who told me they've listened to it and said, I never realised that you had so much going on, and about the background and your history of coming from school.
Never realised you were that clever, Tom.
I know. It's amazing that you failed so badly at that and then did so well at this, that kind of thing. So no, it was good for me, and it was good to let the whole world know, as you like to say.
Well, you're used to all this. You're a social media star now.
We are doing a bit more social media now. So we've been very lucky with that.
You sign as many autographs as I do.
Well, that's been very lucky with Harry Metcalf and Auto Alex and all those sort of things, and I've been on some great adventures myself over the last few months and last couple of years actually, and it's I've got no complaints. But I do think that this media side of the podcast, along with the magazine and all this stuff, and the YouTube bits and pieces that we're all doing now, is the way of the world. And if you get into it, it's just I've had a lot of fun. And I know you have a lot of fun with me. As much as we enjoyed listening to you screaming like a little girl in my race car going around Castle Combe.
It was pure screams of joy, by the way. It was. I think James is an all right driver.
No, he's a very good driver.
He's got a long way to catch up with me, but he's all right.
That's it. So here's a quick question for you before we wrap this up. In all seriousness, road going, manual, XJS, racing car, XJS, which you've experienced both. Now I've obviously experienced both, but from I've raced them, but you're not going around racing every weekend. I mean, what is the biggest sort of like thing that you can turn around and say the difference between taking an XJS as a road going car to being out in the track?
I think the thing that really I walked away from that experience with that race car thinking was how surprised I was at how capable the XJS is as a race car. Now, of course, we know that TWR won the European Touring Car Championship with Tom Walkinshaw and Wim Percy in 1984. So we know they're proven. But actually, when you drive a road-going XJS, you get used to how refined, smooth and luxurious it is.
But it's meant to be like that, isn't it? It's not.
It's a sports car, but it's a touring car, really, and you relax into it. The manual cars, by the way, they drive totally different.
They're a different
auto
beast,
cars.
aren't they? Yeah.
The race car is serious piece of kit. It's a car that needs to be respected, but actually I think because of its long wheelbase and the amount of engineering already in there, on road holding in particular, it's a race car you can trust, I think, once you build the relationship with it.
I love the surprise on people's faces that when when the car's going well and we're having a good run out, how quick it is. And they all think a Jaguar just shouldn't be that quick.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it shocks them.
Yeah, it's brutal delivery.
And
I
really love that side of it. So.
Yeah. That's great.
Oh no, we're gonna get done in.
This is heckling at its extreme.
We're getting heckling.
Everybody, you can see this lovely BMW 635 CS.
What's one of them? Never heard. He just said a whole jumble of numbers.
Yeah.
There, didn't
Taylor, do you know Wayne?
I do now.
Hi,
How
Taylor.
are you, Wayne? You
Nice
all
to
right?
meet you.
Nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Very nice T-shirt you got on there.
Oh, thank you very much.
That's the Tina Jaguar dying on the side of the Nürburgring.
Oh dear, yes.
Yeah, they painted that.
So what is this? Is this a Jaguar Enthusiasts Club? No wonder you're here, Tom.
Of course I'm here,
If you're
Taylor.
one thing,
I mean, don't mind us or anything. We were just filming a video.
Sorry, I just thought I'd come and sort of trash your video.
Thanks, Taylor. Off you go now.
I'm going to leave you to it. I've just seen the BMW car club.
No. This is much better, mate. Much cooler.
Nice, but that is me.
We'll come and see you over there in a minute, Taylor.
Right, see you in a bit, Sailor. Right.
Sailor.
Well, that was very good. That was. You see, this is just chaos. You don't get chaos like this when I'm in
No,
charge.
definitely not. So look, anyway, I think we'd all agree in all formats, an XJS is an excellent road car, particularly a manual one.
Amazing.
And a surprising race car.
Fantastic, absolutely. And the way to do it is to build a double garage and have both.
Yes, I would agree with that, yeah. Fortunately, I've got a barn. I do have both, amongst other things, so I'm very lucky like that. So, yeah. Anyway, look, thank you again, Wayne, for your time. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure,
Thank you very much.
always a pleasure.
Cheers.
Because just listen to the sound of this XJS going around Castle Combe. 6 cylinders, 4 litres of greatness. Enjoy.
XJS race car here at Castle Combe in Wiltshire, driven by James Wall from Tom Lenthall Limited, a car that Tom himself races and has built here, and it is absolutely phenomenal. It's a late model XJS with a 4-litre straight 6, that Geartrack 5-speed manual, but it is not like an XJS that you've ever been in before.